I always ask myself, what will life be without horror? And what if I had the opportunity to pin some of these great horror movies? I've been a horror fan since I was a kid. So that's what this What If series is all about. So I'm going to start off with CM, okay? This is going to be the first one I'm doing right here. Now, if I wrote this for the movies, okay, as a script, it'd be a lot more horrific. But I had to tone it down for TikTok, all right? So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this story, all right? CM, let's have some fun with it, okay? The sun hung low in the sky as the two couples, Emma and Tommy, along with Sarah and her boyfriend Rex, loaded up their SUV for the long road trip to visit their old family home. Emma's little brother Timmy sat patiently in his wheelchair, excited for the journey. The siblings had grown up hearing stories about the countryside estate their grandparents once owned, and now, after years of abandonment, they wanted to see it one last time. The narrow road wound through lush and green hills, the countryside seemingly untouched by time. Laughter and fun stories filled the car, but as the daylight waned, the SUV hit a deep pothole, and a loud pop shattered the cheerful mood. Tommy pulled the vehicle over, inspecting the damage. "It's the tire," he muttered, "totally blown." "Do we have a spare?" Emma asked nervously. "Nope," Tommy admitted, "and no signal out here either." The group exchanged uneasy glances. They were miles away from civilization. Leaving Timmy in a vehicle wasn't an option, so they decided to push forward together in search of help. Sarah carried a flashlight and Rex helped maneuver Timmy's wheelchair over the uneven dirt road. As twilight descended, the landscape around them grew darker. The air grew thick, with an eerie silence broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves. "There's a light ahead," Rex said, pointing to a flicker through the dense trees. The group followed the faint glow, arriving at a decrepit, looming farmhouse. Its windows was dark, save for one upstairs where the light seemed to sway, casting strange shadows across the rotten building. "Are we sure this is a good idea?" Emma whispered, clutching Tommy's arm. "It's either this or freeze out here," Tommy replied. They approached the house cautiously. Rex knocked on a door which creaked open its own. Inside, the air reeked of mildew and something metallic. The floorboards groaned under their weight as they stepped inside, calling out for help. Suddenly, a loud clunk echoed from above, followed by the heavy, deliberate footsteps descending the stairs. Emma grabbed Timmy's wheelchair handles, pulling him closer to her. "Hello," Sarah called out hesitantly. From the shadows of the stairway emerged a towering figure, his face obscured by a grotesque mask stitched together with mismatched leather and fabric. His hands was a chainsaw, its blade smeared with rust and something dark. He revved it once, the noise ripping through the silence like a banshee scream. The group froze in terror. "Run!" Tommy shouted, grabbing Emma's arm as the chainsaw rolled to life. Rex tried to push Timmy's wheelchair, but the uneven flow caught the wheels, nearly toppling it. The man lunged forward, his chainsaw swinging wildly. Sarah screamed as he slashed inches away from Rex, who managed to shove Timmy's wheelchair towards the door. Tommy and Emma burst through first, dragging Timmy to safety while Rex and Sarah barely ducked the blade, slamming the door behind them. They sprinted into the woods, the distant hum of the chainsaw growing louder. "This way! This way!" Tommy hissed, spotting an overgrown path that wound deeper into the forest. The group fled, Timmy's wheelchair bouncing violently over roots and stones. Behind them, the masked man chased relentless, his chainsaw spluttering and snarling like a wild beast. "Where are we going?" Sarah cried. "Anywhere but fucking here," Tommy barked, harked back. The woods opened to a clearing where a rusted pickup truck sat abandoned. Tommy jumped into the driver's seat, desperately fiddling with the ignition. "Keys!" he shouted. "They're not here!" Emma sobbed. The masked man emerged from the shadows, his silhouette grotesque in the moonlight. He raised the chainsaw above his head, riveted one final time. Just as he advanced, a gunshot rang out, splitting the night. The man staggered, the chainsaw clattering to the ground. From the edge of a clearing, an old farmer stepped into view, his shotgun smoking. "Get out of here, young timers! Get out of here!" the farmer growled. "Now!" The group didn't hesitate. They scrambled from the truck and ran as fast as they could back towards the road where they finally reached the SUV. Their lungs burned and their feet and legs felt like lead. Without speaking, they climbed inside, Emma hugging Timmy tightly. Tommy turned the key and the engine roared to life. As they drove away, Sarah glanced out the rearview window, half expecting to see the man's mask in the distance. They didn't stop until the morning. Sun rose, but none of them would ever speak of that night again. The countryside, once a place of nostalgic, had turned into a nightmare none of them would never forget. And it haunted them. That night haunted them for the rest of their day.